Half an hour, which is a shamefully small time to talk about one of the most important transformative processes towards socialism going on in the world today, from which we can all learn an immense amount. We're privileged to have got here today three workers from the Venezuelan state oil company who are currently studying, along I think with about 50 of their compatriots, at Robert Gordon's University, studying the technologies of the oil industry to take back to improve their own country's productivity. And they are, of course, as trade unionists and oil workers, deeply involved in the whole revolutionary transformation that is going on in Venezuelan society. And Jose is going to speak a bit about that, maybe speaking for about 10 minutes.
Yeah,
questions and answers.
Minutes,
Maybe afterwards, if his comrades will come in as well in the answers. We've got.
This is my first public speech that I'm going to do in English, so be gentle. Who we are? We are a movement who has recently been conformed by more or less 50 people who share the ideal that our dear President Mr. Chavez has about the socialism that he's trying to build to have a new society. We raised as a way to try to cover and to tackle the bad approach that the mass media here in Britain has against our government. I really believe that you want to know why we support Chavez. That's right. So we have to do, before telling you why we are strongly agree with Chavez, we have to put this in context. We have to take you through history, you know. And this history begins since 1992 when Chavez, on the 27th of November, he was in front of a coup d'etat that was trying to be carried out in Venezuela. Unfortunately, he didn't reach the coup d'etat by that time. That coup d'etat was trying to be done because of the excessive political and economic measures that were taken in Venezuela by the time by the current president and the monetary and the World Bank, you know, institution that all of us know that what they do to Latin American countries. Then after that period, Chavez was in jail for almost 2 to 3 years, and then he received the freedom from the jail as a way from the following president, who was Rafael Caldera, to try to catch more people, because the anger on our country, everybody was hating the government and the measures that were taken following the monetary World Bank rules. In 1998, when Chavez won the elections, I have to say that with more than 61%, actually 62% of the whole population in Venezuela, make him be really legitimate, and he launched a reform constitution in 2000. In 1999, we won it again. We have been through so many different political elections, and each of them we have been winning. And this obey a way of thinking. It is not only because Chavez wants to do it, but because he's just trying to feel and to portray people's feelings, people's needs, and that's we believe so much in him. In 2000, Chavez, for the first time ever, the National Oil Company was the directors and the managers of the national oil companies, the main managers, who are 12, were designed by Chavez. And this is one of the biggest historical issues that lead into the coup d'etat that was carried out in Venezuela in 2002. Because never ever before the directors and managers of that elite that was governing PDVSA, who is the national oil company, the president never had decisions, even though he was able to design the president of the company. And everybody knows what oil means to the world and to the economy. And I don't have to claim here what United States have been attacking Iraq or currently trying to persuade to attack Iran, you know. In 2002, unfortunately, many people died in Venezuela because, again, an elite was trying to follow orders from the Americans, trying not to pay attention what were the really needs that our people had. I mean, education, I mean food, I mean through national health system, I mean schools, private. At that time, by the time, everything was trying to be privatized. And when Chavez came to power, just everything was stepped behind. This political attack, I have to say, everybody has to remember that Chavez has had an important way of trying to convince Arabs to rise the oil price. He came to power in 1988, and you can see from that period, and when he traveled to the Middle East, the oil prices start to rise, to increase, and you can check it whatever you want. So I'm just trying to put you in context, because we cannot say why we are following Chavez if we don't say what happened before that period. So I just wanted to make you clear the whole context that has been happening through the whole years in Venezuela. The coup d'etat was done in 2002, December, and around 18,000 of people were not fired. They didn't want to work under Chavez project. So they just basically said, he's here, I'm not going to work there because he's there. I hate him, I'm not going to work under his policies. So you might think, what will happen to somebody if you say, I'm not going to work in this company because I don't like Gordon Brown, whatever, you know? It's a national oil company. And this is a policy of a state. It's not a government policy, which is completely different thing. Why, now I have to say, why we are supporting Chavez? Well, after Chavez gained or obtained again the nationalization, the real nationalization of our oil industry, he has been attacked by the United States and everybody who doesn't want to realize that the world is really changing, and there are people thinking about trying to portray and to reach a different world, trying to make a different world, and that is our mission. If we don't understand that we have to do and to make a different world, it's a shame. We don't even know what is going to happen with our children, with our nephews, with our sons, with our grandsons. We have to think, what are we going to let to them? Because it will be really easy to say, it's not my business. It's not my business. Yes, it is. Indeed, it's your business. Because all your kids and everybody is going to be attacked by the system that we are submerged right now, and the way that things are working right now. Chavez has liderated in Venezuela what he has called the revolution. He has been trying to do so for since 2003, 4 years to be exact. Many changes have been happening in Venezuela since that time. We have those missions. I can recall you, I can be talking here 2 hours, telling you about the different missions that we have in Venezuela. But I'm just going to pick up one, which is Misión Barrio Adentro. This is a mission who tries to help the most needed people in Venezuela, the poorest people in Venezuela, because the national health system in Venezuela is so, in so many ways, corrupted. And he was just trying to avoid the fact that the bureaucracy could kill somebody in the hospital, because there were so many people trying to be cared, trying just to cover their essential needs as a human being and as a human rights, and they were being, they were dying. In fact, they were dying. This is not a statement. They were dying because they just used to go to the hospital and they just didn't receive the medical treatments that they should have to. Plus they have to pay for it. So Chavez came with the idea in order not to have the hospital so crowded, with the Misión Barrio Adentro, which is a mission that has been treated more than 24 million of different consultancies in the States. More than 10 million people have been attended by this mission. We are like 24 million in Venezuela, which means that nearly 50% have been attended by this mission, which is quite a high number. So you can imagine the impact that for those people that doesn't have the money to go to a private clinic could have. You know, you can die just because you don't have to pay a treatment for a cesarean or to pay a treatment for a normal labor job. And you may think, okay, is that the public health system in Venezuela doesn't work? It's not the problem that the national health system in Venezuela doesn't work. The problem is the structure that is corrupted. That's why in Venezuela, Chavez is trying to take this very seriously, the constitutional reform that he's launching on the 2nd of December. This is really important, and this is one of his main issues, national public health. He has decreed that clinics are going to be part of the state. He's going to respect the private sector, but the people is under the individual, under the individual needs. People is under, and the individual is here. So if I need to intervene a clinic or to buy the clinic because my people is dying for that, because they are not able to pay the money that they are asking to be treated, I'm gonna take it, because I cannot be allowing people die. So this is in our constitutional reform right now. You can guess now why we are so followers of this process. As I was telling you, it's just a simple example about how much it has impact on the poor people in Venezuela. I can be talking here for 2 hours and without stopping. I would like to encourage you, if you have any question about the constitutional reform that is taking place in Venezuela, or any topics that you can be wondering what it's about, we can answer your questions. So thank you for being here, and thank you for giving us your time. Yeah, it's easy, you know. It's just about giving power to people, you know. Why the people are so in love with this revolution is because Chavez has been disintegrated the power. I mean, he has been transferring, is the word, the power from just the presidential state to the local communities. So the local communities are really involved in their plans. We are now discussing the constitutional reform. We are discussing the national public system in Venezuela. We are discussing if the different projects that are being taken out in Venezuela, you know. And when somebody is really committed with the work, I mean, if you are in your local community and you say, I need a school, and you realize, because everybody wants to have the school, the project goes to the presidency, to the president in this case, and he approves the project. And this is why the people are so in love with the revolution, because they are seeing and they are feeling that something has been finally given to them.
Okay.
Sure,
You can maybe.
truly, they are getting help. Before Chavez, you know, Chavez and Fidel were the only ones who were there ever by criticizing the United States. Now there is Evo Morales, who won the relationships after Chavez. Then Correa in Ecuador. Then Nicanor Duarte in Paraguay. Then Sandy in Nicaragua. Daniel Ortega. So there are so many presidents, many left-wing presidents after Chavez came to power. There is a spread over the whole continent. Everybody's in love with Chavez. You know, everybody's seeing Chavez as their hero, you know, because he has been transmitted the power to the people. And this is what the whole continent wants, you know. Bolivar is our national hero, and Bolivar says, you know, I don't know if you have heard about the Gran Colombia, that Bolivar had liberated 5 countries in South America, and Chavez is a dreamer. He's a dreamer. He's just following Bolivar dreams, you know, the way how this helps ourselves in the whole continent, which is your question, is by integrating. We are just a whole nation. We look at ourselves as a whole nation, as a whole country. We don't look at ourselves as you are Colombia, you are Argentina, you are Brazilian. No, that's not the point. That's not the key issue. Our enemy is the United States government, and we are really aware of it, you know. And everything that we can do to be against them, we are gonna do it. And the main issue is that people has realized during this last period, Chavez came to power, that this is the truth. We were fighting against Colombia, and our enemy is not Colombia. Our enemy is not Argentina. It's not Bolivia. It's not Peru. The enemy is the Bush administration and the United States administration. So this is why this is so important for us to have this relationship with all countries, even in Asia, even in Africa, even in South America, Latin America, and whatever, in any part of the world.
Well, Francisco, I don't know whether you'd like to make one or two very brief points,
Yeah,
2 or 3
yeah.
minutes. Yeah.
I've been to Venezuela recently on a delegation, and I went to Bolivia first. And it was 3 days in Bolivia with altitude sickness, which is incredible. And I was delighted to go to Venezuela as well, very quickly. I will concentrate only on Venezuela very briefly, just to give you an idea of what is going on there. In an official vehicle, we were taken around the place in several cities, and we went past these barracks everywhere. And you have this big, very big billboard that said, Patria, muerto, socialismo, venceremos. So if there is anybody who is worried about the defense of the revolution, that's a clear indication where things are going. But there is more to it. In the current constitutional reform, 2.2 million reservists who are volunteers, who are actually undergoing military training, are being made constitutionally
Allowed.
In the constitution. They are enshrined in the constitution. And we know that Chavez has been buying busily hundreds of thousands of Kalashnikovs and Sukhoi warplanes and so on. And then there is a territorial militia on top of that. In other words, these people's committees that exist in the whole country, who actually now have the constitutional right to train militarily and to defend the revolution and to have weapons. So I don't think there is any problem with that. Just to say this, that the process of the Bolivarian revolution has massively deepened since December 2006, when Chavez was re-elected, massively. Electricity has been renationalized, steel has been renationalized, telecommunications have been renationalized, and there is very little left that is not being renationalized. So the socio-economic basis of the revolution are being transformed. And as Jose said, it's extremely contagious. I mean, Bolivia is following very much in the footsteps, and others have followed in the same way. Chavez and others, including Brazil, Argentina, and so on, are talking about the possibility, actually, of creating a South American NATO, to coalesce their armed forces together. And the idea is to be prepared just in case anybody wants to invade any of their friends. I'll tell you, they're not thinking of Japan when they're doing this, right? And finally, this is where we come in. The media is disgustingly horrible regarding Venezuela. They're lying, and lying. The distortions, the defamation, the slander, and so on. It's absolutely disgusting. The whole point in Britain, in Venezuela as well, by the way, the whole point is to actually portray the Venezuelan revolution as, a dictatorial and so on. It's not. And that's why we must put around the message. We must tell the truth about Venezuela. And we have a media action network which we want everybody to participate in order to rebut the lies. The BBC and us have become a bit more sophisticated regarding the lies that they spread, but they still do. And I must say this, we sort of smashed the news statement when they wrote nonsense. They got about 129 letters from us, and they complain that the readership is not sympathetic to them. So the position of the news statement is, when the readership doesn't like your newspaper, you change the readership. It's disgusting. So join us and participate in this effort that we're going to do. They completely deserve, because by them succeeding, they make our life easier and our struggles easier.
We could go on further. I think we owe a debt of gratitude to the Venezuelan group from